The opposition leader there in Washington. Before him, Dan Borsche reporting from Jakarta. Joining me on the program now, Liberal frontbencher Josh Frydenberg and also the Parliamentary Secretary to the Shadow Treasurer, Ed Husic. Gentlemen, good morning to you. Josh Frydenberg, what do you make of the opposition leader's calls for tougher sanctions against Vladimir Putin if the cooperation we're seeing in the early stages since that UN resolution doesn't continue?
Well, I think we've seen very speedy and welcome diplomatic results in New York, thanks to the hard work of Julie Bishop and her team at the UN Security Council, and getting 15 countries to sign on to an unambiguous resolution calling for the immediate security of that crash site and an unimpeded investigation is a very good result. And you've heard from Julie Bishop and from Tony Abbott that we're starting to see some movement on the ground there in eastern Ukraine. Look, there's still some way to go in this matter, but the last 24 hours I think have seen some positive moves.
Ed Husic, yeah, some encouraging signs there that the investigation will be done, and clearly the Foreign Minister says the government's got the focus of a multinational force potentially as well at the site to try and secure it, as difficult as that might be.
The Labor opposition has said all along that we'll support the government on measures that will be important in obviously progressing the investigation and ensuring the recovery of the bodies of the victims, particularly the 37 Australians that have lost their lives as a result of this crime. I think while it's been encouraging to see the Russian Federation, in particular President Putin, make those moves and eventually support our resolution at the UN Security Council, I think we've all got some fairly deep concerns about the fact that the number of bodies that have been handed over appear to be less than the tragic count that we've been operating by, and I think it is important that everything is done to ensure that all those bodies are accounted for, not only in terms of helping the investigation, but particularly for helping those families that have been managing the grief to have that certainty and to be able to have loved ones back with them.
And sadly, Josh Frydenberg, Putin, he's supportive at the moment, but his track record suggests that could change in an instant.
Well, that's right. Vladimir Putin has made his name for himself as the strong man of Russia, and you saw what he did in Chechnya, you've seen what he's done in Georgia, now you've seen Russian support for separatist-backed rebels in eastern Ukraine and the loss of life that has followed. So this is not a man that follows in the likes of Mikhail Gorbachev. This is a man who's the strong arm of Russia, and we really need to keep the international pressure on him and the Russian government to ensure that there is full cooperation and we can get justice for the victims and for their families, because this is an unspeakable crime. To quote Winston Churchill, this is not the beginning of the end, this is really just the end of the beginning when it comes to this issue. I think it's got a long way to play out over a long period of time.
Because Ed, finally on this matter, the Prime Minister said it, which I think captured the sense of this, that it could have been anyone. In a sense, they were everyone, those who were affected by this tragedy.
Absolutely. I think the fact that so many Australians have flown that route and the fact that we could have been affected, but also I think even if we were, for good grace, spared and we had no one that perished on that flight, it would still touch us all, because we would all relate to the experiences of those travellers and put ourselves in their position. So, clearly the world has been looked on in horror at what's occurred, and I think it's been important to get this speedy resolution through the UN Security Council for us to use the strong podium there to project our voice and speak on behalf of other countries that also have these deep concerns. But again, I think the pressure does need to be kept on the Russian Federation. We need to have a thorough investigation. You've seen the reports, Kieran, over the last few days, where there have been significant concerns expressed that vital pieces of evidence would have gone missing or been tampered with either deliberately or inadvertently. I mean, I think, for example, the fact that mobile phones and the data that's carried on them and other devices has been wiped and gone missing is also critical. Fortunately, we have the black boxes handed over to the Malaysian government and then on to investigators. But clearly we need the pressure on to ensure that this investigation is unimpeded and that it make up for the lost time, the critical lost time we've experienced.
Indeed. Let's take a quick break. Back in just a moment with Josh Frydenberg and Ed Husick.